Okay, as promised, it is testing day. Today we are going to be testing the new LA Golf 1010 9.5 against the GT2, which in my opinion is pretty close as far as size and so on. Unfortunately, if you saw the original video, there is no all-fit adapter so that we can have an isolation of the head and the shaft. I have just about every LA Golf shaft made, but unfortunately getting them all in there, I only have 165X Bryson. So the comparison is going to be the 55X Bryson in the GT2. They're both playing at 45 play length. Unfortunately, based on the weight, again, look back at the original video for the specs and so on, had to put quite a bit of lead tape to get it to an equivalent swing weight. They're both at around 2.7, 2.8. They're both at 45 playing length. I had to add an extra couple of reps here to try and get the grips as close as I can, but it's not going to be a scientific test in any way, nor would my swing be that way, as you will see. I won't subject you to that, but here is the two, and we're going to hit them. Today's ball is going to be the Callaway Chrome Tour X, and we're going to get some comparison. Hopefully we can follow up with a couple of additional comparisons against some of what I have on the wall. The Ping, the Srixon, the PXG, the Callaway, and the QI35, and we'll see what we can do. Generally, my swing speed for driver on my gamer runs between about 105 and, if I'm really feeling good that day, 110. But we'll see how it is today. I'll try and normalize that just a little bit. I range between a 12 and a 14 handicap, so I am in no way a scientific or a robotic swinger here. You're going to get what you get. But if nothing else, I wish I would have had some of these bits of information when I was deciding. But look at the original video on the specs. You know, a couple things that we'll go through at the end, and we'll plug it through. So I learned pretty quickly that I didn't match well to the shaft. I think the Bryson series got the best of my ego, and it originally resulted in a pretty ridiculous angle of attack and dynamic loft. My gamer has a normal launch of around 13 or 12 and a half with a 17, 18, 19 dynamic loft. I ended up with this having to tee it up so high that it was uncomfortable. I never really got the most out of it. Why that's so bad for me is that the higher your dynamic loft, the delivered loft of the club by me, and the angle of attack results in a higher spin loft. Spin loft ends up giving you a higher spin and ends up taking all of the juice off the ball. My ball speed was significantly lower than it would normally have been with my gamer. What I ended up having to do was turn down the driver from 9.5 to 8.75. The ball speed went up, but that opens up the face, which is generally bad for me. So again, I want to reiterate that this is not the head or the heads, it's the shaft that I didn't really agree with. Generally, I have mid 150 to high 150s ball speed, and when I'm comfortable, 105 to 110 club head speed. I didn't see any 280s and 290s and 280 carries and the very occasional 300 like I would with my gamer. The dynamic loft ended up creating a low strike no matter how high I teed up the ball. Here on the club data page, you'll see that the main culprit, which is the dynamic loft, which is just outright insane at 20 degrees. Normally on my gamer, it's around 17, 18. The angle of attack is more than double my traditional angle of attack, again, just with the shaft, which all that promoted a pretty low strike on the head, even though I had the highest tee. Also, my head speed, the club head speed, was about 5 or so miles an hour less than it normally is. You can see that the path is a little bit more out to in with the 55-gram shaft, which is to be expected, but as far as the feel, they weren't really that much different. I went ahead and put in all the data sets so that you can try and see some comparisons of some similar shots or some similar launch angles. But I think it's really going to show that it's the mismatch of the shaft and the club for me. But ball speed data and carry-in totals versus spin, etc., might be helpful. Here's a two-shot comparison of the LA on the left and the GT on the right. Neither of these really had much of a rollout, but it only shows the carry distance on these because of the height. Okay, so what's the conclusion and what's next? I don't think we can take much out of this because of the mismatch of the shaft. I think in order for me to get this shaft to do well, I would really have to put the swing weight all the way up to about D5 because it's stout. What I think it's going to show is that it's comparable to the GT2, which I know is a fast driver. I've used it in other shaft combinations and got significantly more distance, but the height and the dynamic loft is what's hitting it. But the head does feel very good. The centered contact shots feel very good. And the shaft feels good, actually, for that matter. But it's just not a good fit for me. What do we have to do? I'll probably have to take the tip off and go through and put it on a completely other shaft. I expect I'll have better success with either the A series or the DJ series, which I've tried in the past. It helps promote a better dynamic loft and give me a better angle of attack that'll promote a better launch. Overall, I really like the shape of the head, the feel. It's very sleek. I think that it's going to hit a wide audience, especially with the adjustability. But the shortcomings are going to be it really does need a weight kit, especially if you're going to be cutting it down or making changes. It's going to be difficult to hit the wide masses without being able to fit it and try it against the shafts. What I would suggest is that on AI Sportbox, on the website for LA Golf, they allow you to do their shaft fitting using AI Sportbox, which I wish I would have done. But what would be really cool would be is if you could match the loft with the Face ID. For example, being able to have the 8 degree with a 12, 10, or the 1010 or 99 or whatever it would be. That way, people who need to either open or close the face can get the loft that they need. Okay, so what's next? I think I'm going to have to dial in the shaft that's the best fit for the head so that it's a closer match to some of the comparisons so that it's better fit for me, really. And that way I'll be able to put it up against some of the other things in the demo wall, the QI35, the Black Ops, my Gamer, a couple of others, where we'll be able to actually get a better representation of how it's going to look. That's going to involve reepoxying the tip unless we can figure out a way to get an all fit that will work, which it doesn't appear to be. But that's what's next, so stay tuned, and I'm going to try and put it up against some of the other big boys and see if we can get it.